I think I feel differently about monogamy than I did when I was in my 20s. All right, here, let's toast.
Right, yes, and it's on the sweeter side,
okay,
so
that's all right.
I gotta have a little cocktail. Everybody likes a little cock, and everybody loves a little tail. So there's one piece that I absolutely want to talk about too, and it is the idea of being honest in a relationships, because and specifically I want to talk to the young, actually not young, all women. I'm just going to talk to all women right now, all heterosexual women who are wanting to make sure that your husband is being honest with you, right? That your husband is being true and honest with you, because women often have these situations like, oh, is my husband cheating on you? Is they doing this or whatever? Significant, whatever it is, your husband's significant, For every one woman that says no, there's 1,000 women who will say yes. And men are far more sensitive and emotional than you would ever think. And I need for you to understand that when a man says that he loves you, and he really starts to become honest with what he's saying to you, and he's opening up, men feel very vulnerable because we're not taught to be emotional and to be vulnerable. We're supposed to keep all of that in. So when a man tells you something, that's huge, because we're not taught to tell our true thoughts, right? And so men might have some little freaky thing that they like, something that they might be interested in bed, right? That there's things that they may say to their significant, go, honey, I'd like to think about this, or I'd like to try this maybe. If she does this, that's gross, I ain't doing it. He will never bring it up again, because what you've done is you've made him feel now shameful. He is now ashamed of what he's disclosed to you at his most vulnerable time. He's never going to mention it again, but that thought's never going to go away, ladies. That thought is never going to go away. That thing that he said he likes and wants to try, that's always going to be in the back of his brain. But see, you told him he was gross or made him feel like he was disgusting. For every woman that says no, there's 1,000 who will say yes. And so,
and on the flip,
when you told him he was gross and disgusting, he may not talk about it with you, but he's going to seek that out. He's not going to want to tell you. He still loves you. He still loves you. But there's some aspect of his life that you may not be giving him, that he wants and that he needs. And he's not being honest anymore, because you made him feel like being honest is not going to necessarily work out good, because you're going to make me feel like shit.
I have some.
That's how men cheat. Same thing for women too.
I have some experience with that. I will say, in a relationship once, I suggested something that was sexual, and I was like, it's a little naughty, so I just kind of sent it in a text message, and the response I got back was like not receptive at all. And I was like, holy shit, like, not only have I put myself out there to say this, but now I was slut shamed. Basically, when I look back on it, basically I was made to feel like it wasn't appropriate. I'm like, and try being a woman and having the man you messing around with. Well, like, if I can't say that to you, who can I say it to?
And that's it. That's it.
Who can I say it to? And I should have seen right then.
And that's what happens in relationship. When people try to be honest, they get their hand slapped, they get knocked down, or they get made to feel like they are shame, like it's something to be ashamed of, right? And sexuality and sex is nothing that people should be made to feel ashamed of. Well, we know again that comes from people's background, how they're being taught, how they're being raised. But I'm just telling you, folks, when your man is being honest with you and you make him feel like, ooh.
I mean, even if you don't want, say he suggests something that you like don't want to do, but like think about it. Maybe you don't want to do it right then. Maybe you could do it later. Let's talk about why you don't want to do it. And while I was giving advice on people who felt a certain way about monogamy and not wanting to be in monogamous relationships. Also, people, if you do want to be in monogamous relationship and the person that you're with doesn't want to be, feel just as empowered to say, that's not for me.
Absolutely.
That's not what I want. Like, what I want is somebody who's just going to be with me. And then, you need to empower yourself to get out of that relationship if that's not what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
It goes both ways.
Because I don't believe that there's anything wrong with monogamy, but absolutely, if that's what you want. But what I do feel is wrong is the toxicity within monogamy. All the things that people are made to feel has to go with monogamy.
And being held to the standard of monogamy as meaning that's the only type of relationship where you are really in a loving relationship.
Right.
That's the only relationship that's worthy. And, think about how those type of relationships will be looked upon when you raise kids. Like people wouldn't necessarily want their kids to go play with the kids whose parents have, the poly relationships. I mean, that's bullshit, but that's just how people are until we talk and open up and realize that these relationships are way more common than you think. They really, really are. Yeah.
And all it really is about a connection, right? It's just about individuals making a connection with one another and finding happiness within that relationship.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't really be anything wrong with people seeking out happiness and love and
And I know couples who have went on that journey and ended up not being together anymore. I know couples who have went on that journey and ended up coming back to each other and deciding that, I don't want to be with anybody else anymore. And just imagine that type of growth with your partner. Holy shit, know.
Well, to be able to allow for that, I don't know if this is the right word, experimentation, because I don't want to look at it as an experiment.
Well,
but it's a
controlled.
I think it's more a
that's not the definition of control.
The evolution of a relationship.
Right.
That's what I want to say. It's more the evolution of a relationship.
And allowing it to evolve into whatever
it is.
Just again, like that analogy of, I do think of a relationship as a plant, and that's probably because I love plants, but you do have to water them, to tend to them. Sometimes they need water, sometimes they don't need you to water them. They need you to leave them the hell alone. And sometimes parts fall off, but other parts replace them. And
that's so true. It's a very good analogy.
Thank you.
I like that analogy. I like that. That is very Post County.
Post County.
That's Post County.
Let's drink to that.
Post County. Actually, need to refill the drink.
I can't believe you finished a drink before me. Usually I have the
these are
last
too
around here.
good. I'm telling you, these are good. So I'm going to take a little drink break. This is going to take me 5 minutes. And
offset. The mayor's offset. The mayor is offset. B-roll. B-roll, y'all. About to go to the bathroom.
Oh, let me just go ahead.